Let's go next to RJ from Wisconsin. RJ, you're on the air.
Hi, David. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. I just want to say personally, I'm fairly relieved about the result of yesterday's trial. And it seems that upwards of maybe 85 to 88% of America is as well. But I guess I want to touch on, something that's been coming up in the news, and that's the shooting that occurred in Columbus as well, and all of the protests that are coming as a result of that.
Right.
I watched that video several times, and obviously nobody knows the exact details of that yet. But I guess my question to you is: do we need to, in some ways, draw a line to where we're willing to protest some of these things if use of force is use of force ever a justifiable method from law enforcement? And is there a line that we are going to draw, as Democrats or as liberals, that we would be willing to accept any reason for use of force by a police officer? Or
Wait, so are you saying, are there any circumstances where it's okay for police to use deadly force? Is that your question?
well, yeah, I guess in what circumstance would that be okay? I mean, it looked to me from the video, and I'm just going off of what I've seen in slow motion, more or less. But it looked like the one individual had possibly a knife or something like that that was going after another individual.
Well, listen,
Is
I
that
haven't
an?
I haven't seen this specific video, but
Oh, okay. I'm
certainly
sorry.
of course, there are situations where police use of force up to deadly force is warranted. What we want is for as a society to have a really good feeling that police are good at determining when that's appropriate. And you can go through all sorts of different scenarios. An active gunman and police show up, certain hostage situations, someone who's about to set off a bomb. I mean, I
Absolutely.
recognize and accept the legal framework in which police are able to use up to deadly force. But I think that the debate, I've not heard any liberal. I mean, okay, I guess there's some people who don't want police at all, and maybe they would say police shouldn't ever even
Right.
fire a gun no matter what.
It's more far left, like very far left.
99% of everybody, 100% of everyone I've personally spoken to understands that sometimes police use deadly force and it's appropriate.
Right, and I guess my question is there are clear instances where obviously police intervention and use of deadly force is necessary.
Yes.
But given that, you know I guess in terms of going forward with protests and things like that, if we're are we willing to, on our side, acknowledge the fact that maybe there is, say in that situation, if they had, if the individual did have a knife and was going after the other individual, are we willing to accept that, yes, because that was an African American that was unfortunately shot by a white police officer, that we're willing to admit that that was a justifiable use of force in that instance?
Listen, you'd have to ask people who I guess are on some other side of this. My view is that just the race of an officer and the race of the person that gets shot doesn't tell you whether the actions of the officer were acceptable. That's my position.
Right.
You're getting into a lot of
Okay.
other things that don't really reflect my views. So I would maybe talk to people who are more of that mindset. I appreciate the phone call very much, and it's an important question. But I think that it's also important not to. I mean, police should never use force, period, is not one I've really heard. So I'm not inclined to spend too much time arguing about it, because it seems 99.9% of the country is on the same page on that. Okay, I'm up. I apologize. I wasn't able to pick up more phone calls. I did what I could. We will take a break and we will take calls again.